So we will go ahead and get started, and there's no waiting room, so everybody can join if they come in a little bit late here. So let me get a little bit situated. There we go. All right. So as you know, we are the Kindness Club. I am Dr. Kelly Jernigan, and my co-advisor in this endeavor of ours is Dr. Kim Rush. We have been at this for almost a year. The chapter will be 1 year old on July 1st. So stay tuned for fun birthday activities. Right now, though, as you hopefully know, we are in the middle of the food drive that we are hosting this month. We're running it a lot like we did back in the fall, where we offer you a list of items to get, essentially one for every day, and then you would donate at the end of each week. So, because of how June falls, we're sort of going from Sunday to Saturday here. We are currently in the middle of week 3. I did want to let you guys know that we are being very successful with this drive, even more so than the one that we did back in the fall, which is really encouraging. We have more than 80 items donated so far, and we're only halfway through. So, fantastic work there. I know Frances had someone at her job donate items in addition to the ones that she donated. I believe Miley had some people, or she set up a box maybe at work that had people donate there as well. So definitely feel free to get other people involved. This is not just you. If you have coworkers that would like to get involved, ask them. That is fantastic. The more people we can help, the better off we're doing. So I did also want to point out that we have help from the Phi Alpha Delta law fraternity and from the Model UN Club. So each of those groups made a $25 donation to the New York Common Pantry, and I'm blanking on his name. James Barney is the faculty advisor for both groups, and he made a $50 donation to the Jimmy Hale mission. So we have more than 80 items and $100 donations to these different groups to help people. So I am super excited about that. I hope you are too. And keep those donations going and let us know about them so we can share with people. We are also currently sponsoring a book for the APUS Reads group. It's Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I know some of us have read it. I know Kim did. I think Donna Hess might have. They are having their meeting to discuss that book next Tuesday at 8 p.m. And after this meeting, I will send out a link and a reminder to everybody so that you can join that meeting as well. Um, Apparently, there was a little bit of a miscommunication. I know that they were discussing the book on Goodreads and Facebook, but apparently they were discussing it last month in preparation for this month's meeting. So I don't know if those conversations are still going on, but you're more than welcome to check it out and find out. I really would love to see several of us show up to the meeting next week to show that we are sponsoring this book, that we're actively engaging with them and the book. So I know I plan to go. I think Kim is planning to go. Um, so hopefully some more of you guys can join us with that as well. And starting in July, this just came up. We have been invited to participate with the Crafts and Creations Club in their project that they're calling Chalk the Walk. So the idea is to get some sidewalk chalk and decorate sidewalks, driveways, park paths, anywhere that you could, with kind, uplifting messages or just fun drawings. Um, Definitely get your kids involved in this. Kids love to draw sidewalk chalk and everything. My daughter will be with her dad, so I plan to let her know that here's a box of chalk and go nuts over at dad's house. I will be out of town at my friend's house, and I am hoping to share some kindness up that way, even though it's not my own house. But if you do get the chance to participate, please take some photos and share them with us. We love sharing what you guys are doing with everybody in the club and on our socials. We get a lot of engagement on social media, especially on LinkedIn, for people who may not even be members. But our message of being kind to everybody and helping people when we can is a good one to share with everybody. So anything that you can share with us, we definitely pass along. Other people from the university will see it and comment on it pretty often. and even people who are outside of the university. So it's a really good way to share the kind message and have a little fun, summertime fun for a good cause. Also, next month, I've mentioned a few times before, we are looking to build our very first leadership team. So, if you are interested in one of the positions on here, we're looking for a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a webmaster. So, I've listed out some of the sort of duties that you would have in these different positions. If you're interested, please let us know. We're going to start taking, I guess, nominations of sorts in July. So if it's something that you're considering, let us know. Send us an email if you have questions. We're happy to help out. You can either reach out to me or Kim directly, or you can email the group as a whole, which is apus.kindnessclub@gmail.com. That will be our election season. So in July, like I said, you're going to let us know if you're interested in one of these positions. We hope to hear from a good number of you. In August, you're going to create sort of a campaign poster. It'll just be one page, telling us about yourself that we can share with everybody. And then later in August, we're going to vote for, who's going to have those positions. September, we're going to announce at the meeting who has taken on these positions. In October, everyone will be inducted into these new positions, and those official duties will start in January of 2026. Something to keep in mind, you are eligible to hold a position in a student organization as long as you are actively enrolled or an alumni. As long as you are in good standing with the university, then you can have one of these positions. Whether you are in the process of finishing up a degree or you've already graduated, you can still have one of these positions if you're interested. All right. We didn't have too much to cover, so without further ado, I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Bethanie Hansen. She is the Associate Dean of the Arts, let's start that again. The Associate Dean of the School of Arts, Humanities, and Education here at APUS. She's also a Master Certified Coach, a National Board Certified Health and Wellbeing Coach, and a Mentor Coach. So I would like to welcome her, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I believe she has some things to share here. And I believe you should be able to do that now.
Let's see. It doesn't offer me screen sharing. Oh, wait.
Hmm.
There it is. I
There
got
it
it.
is. Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
I think we got it. Does it look like you can see the actual presentation and not just my notes?
Cultivating self-kindness for a kinder world is
That's
Yes.
what I see.
Yep, I think we're good.
beautiful. Okay, well, we'll just go with it then. I can still see you all, but I can't see the chat. So if somebody decides to type in the chat, Holly, you're welcome to just come off mute and say, oh, there's a message in the chat and read it. I'm not jarred in the slightest by people interrupting me. That's a
Perfect.
good
Will do.
thing. We want reality. We don't just want a presentation that's all silent with y'all being quiet and stuff. So I'm excited to be here. As Kelly mentioned, I'm Bethany Hansen, and I'm the Associate Dean in the School of Arts, Humanities, and Education. Been at APUS a while, where I learned how to be a life coach and an executive coach. And so I also have a well-being coach orientation, and I really love focusing on well-being and what we would call probably self-kindness. I don't know if that's a real word or a real phrase, but I just made it up. Just saying. It is now, right? That's just what it is. Um, I can't change my slides because my little window's on top of it. I think I just got it. Okay. So no matter no matter what, you'll remember something from this presentation. So hopefully you'll have something to take away. Maybe it's these heart-shaped cookies that look delicious, that inspires me. And this quote is, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Isn't that true? Even if someone doesn't appreciate a kind gesture or a kind thought, even if it doesn't land or no one ever knows about it, it really does improve your own life and your own experience because you have that motivation and that orientation, and it betters you at the very least. But often it betters everything around you and everyone around you, and it makes the world a better place. Um, I know that's the focus of your club, so you already knew all that stuff. Today, we're just going to talk about what is self-kindness and why do we need it? How can we be kind to ourselves? And then maybe some activities and things we can do to cultivate self-kindness, and have a few links at the end. I'll provide more afterwards because I only got a couple on my last slide. They're actual links. So I'll send out these slides afterwards if anyone in the group wants to look at them in more detail. So we'll also be using a coaching orientation because, as you know, I'm a life coach, I'm an executive coach, and a well-being coach. And so I really love coaching people. Um, Coaching assumes that we're all equals and we're partners on this journey of helping you get where you want to go. So that's an idea there. And then the other part of this presentation is focused on some research. So I looked up a lot of things and brought in just a couple of those ideas to help us out today. Here are the life coaching strategies. The first idea that will come up in what we're talking about is noticing your attention. Believe it or not, you can notice what you pay attention to, and you can choose what to pay attention to. So in any kind of situation, we can notice what is going wrong, where there's an opportunity to problem solve, where there's distress, where there's somewhere we could help. We can also notice where our attention is on ourselves or other people, where that attention is going. And we can also interrupt our attention at any point. So generally speaking, that's a strategy that we get from life coaching. And also the second one is we can notice our thoughts and we can intentionally cultivate helpful thoughts. We can choose to think a lot of different things about given situations and different circumstances and even ourselves, and then we can cultivate certain kinds of thoughts. The third one is what motivates us, and that is you can tap into your values and use your values to purposely navigate choices you make, decisions you make every day. And the fourth one is what I would just call like our fallback plan. We can implement coping methods for stressful times. So when we don't have time to be really thoughtful about what we're doing, we might be able to develop some habits that become the coping strategies over time. So that instead of going like, oh man, I just ate a whole box of cookies, I could have like the habit of having whatever my go-to behavior is going to be. And nowadays I'm trying to say to myself, because I'm in my 50s, it's like, it's so kind to myself to eat something healthy, even though I really want to eat bunches of chocolate right now. Anyway, okay, so the helpful coping strategies is another topic. So one thing that is a great strategy to develop self-kindness, which we'll get into in just a second, is to see yourself as two people. Some of us see ourselves as even more than two people, right? But like I always think there's two versions of me. There's the me that's doing, and there's the me that's criticizing, critiquing, analyzing, or talking about it in my head. I don't always notice that version of me, but there's the me that's kind of thinking about what I'm doing, and there's the me that's just doing the doing. So, like right now, when I'm sharing some ideas with you, I'm not doing a whole lot of thinking about the doing. I'm just doing the doing. Like I'm talking, I'm engaged. If I was in a meeting and I'm not talking very much, I might also be thinking, should I stay on video or should I go off video? How do I look on this video? Do I need to make a comment in the chat right now? And there's this whole chatter thing going on while the doer is just sitting here. So there's these two versions, right? Well, there's this exercise that another life coach introduced me to that really changed the way I see all of those two-sided conversations for myself. And that is to find a photograph of your childhood self. Children are innocent. They haven't gone out and done a whole lot of things in the world. They're just beautiful. And for all purposes of this conversation, they're pretty perfect. At a very young age, they're just beautiful. And so if you can find an image of your younger self and have it nearby and occasionally see it, then you can start to look at yourself as that person also, even at this age, like that person is still part of you. So this picture on this slide is my like 6-year-old self. That's me at the swimming pool with my short hair. My mother always made me have short hair. And yes, that's a 70s photo. Anyhow, my beautiful swimsuit, red, white, and blue. And now when I'm thinking about should I stay up super late to make myself slave over this work project when I could do it tomorrow? How do I want to treat this little 6-year-old? Do I want to put her to bed and give her some rest? Do I want to make her stay up and do the work till midnight or something? That seems mean, right? So when you have this picture of your younger self, you can kind of use it as a tool just to keep things in perspective for self-kindness. So let's dive into what is self-kindness. Self-kindness is, like, if we make a definition here, treating yourself with compassion. It's a lot like self-compassion. Self-compassion is that idea that you would treat someone else like a good friend with compassion and understanding. Something goes wrong and you'd say to your friend, hang in there, you'll get through it. It's hard. I know. Things will go better in the future. Let me just sit with you and be with you. We might say that to someone else. And it's this idea that we can do it for ourselves also. It's also being supportive towards yourself during suffering or failure. Something went wrong. And instead of saying, I should have known better, I shouldn't have bothered, I'm so dumb, or anything like that, instead, we're saying, you know what? You got out there and you tried. Didn't go great. You're right. Kind of sucked. We're just going to hang in there and keep going. And maybe we're going to regroup or something, offering yourself the same care that you would a friend. Avoiding overly critical self judgment, focusing on facts. That can help us reduce the emotional stuff that tends to drive person one, the talker, to saying stuff about the doer, person two, you know, saying the critical thing. There's 3 core elements of self-kindness. One is the attitude, another is the perspective, and the third is the awareness. So kindness is helping, sharing, or caring. That's kind of an attitude that we're doing when we're being kind to other people, right? We can have that attitude internally. We can have that attitude towards ourselves. Common humanity, normalizing. That means you might say towards yourself, not this kind of thing always happens to me. It's just me. Instead, you could say, this kind of thing happens to everyone. It's part of the human experience. It may be horrible, but we all experience this. And yes, I'm experiencing it now, and that's hard, but I can be kind about it. Instead of, I know me, I screw all these things up. That's a thing that a lot of us say about, like, if a thing happens over and over again, because we're keeping track of ourselves. We're not really keeping track of other people. So we know sometimes things happen again. And then mindfulness, being present. This is like that awareness of what's actually happening for you right now. Are you tired? Are you hungry? Are you feeling tense physically? Do you need to just kind of relax and take a minute? What do you actually need right now when you're being present with yourself, just being in your body, having your experience? That mindfulness is just that presence of being aware of what you're experiencing right now. So, at its core, self kindness is acknowledging your own pain, your own mistakes, your own struggles without adding layers of judgment and without increasing your suffering. Instead, you're going to respond with understanding and patience toward yourself. And that thing I said earlier, I would just rephrase, like, you might say to yourself, this is really hard right now, and it's okay that I'm struggling, instead of, I'm such an idiot for messing this up. No, you're not. And by the way, an idiot is someone with an IQ of 19. I doubt that's you. You wouldn't be walking and talking if that was the case. So, here's a quote for you. Being kind is good for our physical and mental health. Psychologists have found that performing acts of generosity boosts happiness and well-being, and it's even linked to physical health benefits, including lower blood pressure. So if we have this attitude of kindness towards other people, it's going to benefit us physically. It's going to increase all this well-being stuff. And that also happens when we're being kind to that version of us that's on the inside, experiencing all these thoughts that we're having and all this self-talk that we're doing and all of this and slavery we're putting our body through by working too long or whatever it is we might need to take a break on. Why do we need it? Well, practicing self-kindness is crucial for our mental and emotional health. As I already mentioned, it improves our overall well-being. It reduces stress and anxiety. It fosters resilience, makes us more adaptable. So there's 3 categories on this slide here. So you've got the mental and emotional well-being. This is the overall sense of well-being, also increasing your life satisfaction because we're focusing more on giving ourselves a little bit of grace when things are not going well, which is a better experience than blaming, shaming, and criticizing ourselves or making ourselves work hard and using ourselves as the vehicle to get things done. And then, of course, it enhances our emotional intelligence because we give ourselves space to feel the emotion and deal with our emotions. That second one, reducing stress and anxiety, it's literally going to lower cortisol levels. And cortisol is that hormone that causes you to retain weight and water and put on weight. And like your body is going into fight, flight, or freeze and starting to go, oh no, stress is coming. Let's pack it on. So cortisol makes you hang on to things. And when you're kind and feeling self kindness, it lowers your cortisol levels. So even that attitude and that mindset of kindness increases your physical immunity and it helps you manage the stress effectively. And then the third point fosters resilience and adaptability. It's going to reduce your fear of failure because when you do fail or think you have failed, you'll have this way of being compassionate towards yourself. Even if you think it's a total failure, you'll be able to say, and I can keep going. And it's okay. Let's just convalesce a minute. Let's let's take a break. Let's self-care. Let's connect with our people. Let's do those things we need to do to feel safe with ourselves and then go at it again. So the fear of failure is diminished. It's going to enhance your emotional development and encourage you to persevere through challenges. So if you act kindly towards another person, there's also this propagation effect. And that person goes on to act more kindly towards other people. This is just a quote from some research. I put the link at the top of this slide, and I'll share these out afterwards. And if you want to read more about it, you're welcome to. So there's a profound contagiousness to kindness. If you just think about your own self and being kind to yourself, when we think about like there being these two versions of us, the doer and the thinker, if the thinker is exercising that kindness towards the doer, then the doer is going to be more happy to show up and keep doing. You know, pretty soon you're going to feel very natural about that even on a bad day. But it's very hard to if you let your inner critic criticize you and make it hard for you to keep going. So that kindness is going to be critical internally. All right, how can we do it? How can we be kind to ourselves? If you have anything you do to be kind to yourself, this would be a great time to add it to the chat because this is not all Bethanie's expertise. We all have our ways, right? What do you do to be kind to yourself? And one thing that you might do to be kind to yourself might be totally different than what the next person would do. So what do you do to be kind to yourself? See some things coming in the chat? Let me click on the chat. Okay. Take a bath. Ooh, I like that, Kelly. My go-to self-care is going out for Mexican food. Ah, Kimberly, take a bath. And then we got Donna. I've started to work out with a trainer. Ooh, I think that is kindness to yourself. Like you're giving yourself real tools, real health, real goodness there. And Miley, I build with Minecraft Legos. I love it. Yeah, that's beautiful. So we all have our own things. One of the things I do to be kind to myself is I create music on Suno AI and I listen to it and I totally enjoy it. I make a lot of peppy music for myself that has my name in it so that people are singing to me. And sometimes they're encouragement songs. Like I made this song on Suno AI about grading 10-page papers. You can do it, Bethany. Get through the papers. You can see, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a funny thing, but it was really kind. I like that. Okay, on this slide, I have a few ideas for you also. Self-care is one. A couple of you have mentioned this already. Engage in acts of self-care. Simple. It can be as simple as drinking a glass of warm tea. Like it doesn't have to be very time consuming. In fact, I would like to encourage you to come up with short, middle, and long time durations of activities you can do for self-care. Something that's like a quick 30-second thing and something that's like, oh, it's a whole day, right? We need a range of them so that when you need your coping strategies, you can just go to your list. It's a great way to go. Simple actions like drinking tea. Okay, reading for pleasure. Does anybody here ever read for pleasure? Do you have time to do that? I hope so. Yay. And then the third one in self-care, maybe the fourth one up here, spending time in nature. It's always a good one. Yeah. And then in the mindfulness category, we've got practicing mindfulness and self-compassion. An exercise in the self-compassion category is to stop and think when you're in the midst of a tense situation with yourself or something you're facing that's hard, is to say, what would I say to a good friend if they came to me right now and had the same problem? Would I say and think and tell them all the stuff I'm thinking towards myself right now? Would I go like, this is all your fault and here's 10 reasons why? Probably not. I would be like, wow, you just need me to listen to you, right? Right now, and just listen to you. And then how can I help? What would you really benefit from right now? Um, and then writing a self-compassion letter could be towards you, could be towards somebody else. Sometimes when you need kindness for yourself, maybe you had an experience with someone else that was really awful and you will not be able to resolve it with that person. Maybe the relationship just isn't like that. Maybe they're not going to see it the same way, or maybe they've passed away. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, right? So you could write a self compassionate letter towards yourself, or you could write a letter of compassion towards that person and kind of work through the thoughts. Either way, you're going to be present with it, and that's a good mindfulness activity. And then using physical soothing techniques. This is one that I discovered for one of my family members. I started buying a monthly massage, and they'll go down and just get massaged. And it's like this total self care, kindness activity for them. And it just totally de stressed them. I don't like massages, but a lot of people do. So if that's something that would benefit you, maybe you could add it to your list. Something good to be kind to yourself. And then self talk. Recognize and challenge the negative self talk. Yes, we need to be fact filled about things, but we can always choose to frame it in a positive light or in a negative light. Everything has something to learn from, some benefit that we have to look for, and everything can be either viewed as permanent or temporary, pervasive, like everything in your life, or just localized, like this one situation. And it can be personal, like all about you, or it could be like humanized. It could happen to anybody. So the self-talk we have could always be reframed in one of those, it's temporary, it could happen to anybody. Doesn't always happen this way. Um, that's your inner dialogue, and then fostering your emotional recovery and resilience. Your self-talk can definitely promote this for you. I like to call these habits too. Like thought habits are things like sharpening your tools. So if you think about where you put your attention and the kind of thoughts you have every day, so what you focus on and what you think routinely, it's like what tool you choose to use when you're building something. And I love Stephen Covey's approach to this. Like, you need to sharpen your saw like 80% of the time and then use it to chop the tree down. But you can't chop the tree down if you never sharpen it. You'll be like sawing all day and it'll be really sad for you. It'll be a horrible experience. But we also would not chop the tree down with a hammer or a wrench. Like, that wouldn't work either. So as you have the thoughts that you have about whatever experiences you're having, want to think about what tool would be useful. Is it positive self-talk? Is it self-compassion? Is it just a little bit of patience? Reframing. What tool would work? And then sharpening that tool by practicing it develops a habit that we can perpetuate. All right. I have here a few more actions to cultivate self-kindness. So we've been, I left the chat. I'm going to go back to the chat because Renee said dark chocolate, coffee, and remembering that I don't have to be perfect. I like that one. And then love the song idea. And Anna said shower clean, consume fruits and vegetables, lean meats, persevere on own and with others. I love reading. Yeah, beautiful. So we have a lot of different things that everybody's already doing or can do to cultivate some self-kindness. And I just want to give you three more. So reflecting, considering, and creating, I put in one category. But basically, this would be like taking the time to think about what has happened, reflecting on it. And journaling can be a good way. I journal. I've been journaling since I was 12. I journal like nearly every day. I have boxes of journals, kind of crazy, really. No one will ever care about my journals, but it's a great way to get through thoughts, right? And like look back at my younger journals. I've looked at some from my teenage years and thought, no way, I was that smart back then. That's cool. I didn't know that about myself. I didn't know. I keep learning the same lessons over and over in life. Um, Practice meditation and prayer to enhance emotional well-being. Anything that is transcendent that gets you beyond your sphere, both meditation and prayer do that. We're reaching out to another space and we're getting beyond just this mortal experience right here to the bigger sense of transcendence. So that can be really healthy and also self-kind. And engaging in creativity, writing poetry, drawing, painting, or creating simple songs on Suno AI. Yes, I'm trying to encourage you to use Suno AI. The second category is strengthening your connections with others because research shows that when you connect with other people, it increases kindness. And that's a great thing, right? Feeling connected to people boost your generosity. And if you're not really sure, all you have to do is think of who could use your text, email, phone call, or visit right now. And then when you get done with this call, do it. And you'll get some reply or something will happen. And if you don't, you'll think of someone else to connect with. So that'll be a good thing. And then the third one is this whole gratitude reframe. I am not a fan of saying that when you're having a hard time, you should just be grateful. I actually think you should acknowledge what you're feeling first and then decide how you want to deal with it, which might be to reframe it to see what you're grateful for. It might be to find the positive in it, it might be to learn from it. But if you acknowledge your feelings first, then it's reality. If you try to reframe it too fast and don't acknowledge where you're starting from, we call that toxic positivity. It's kind of like glossing over your feelings, and it's not helpful to you because it kind of stuffs your feelings. So if you can notice what's right in the world, even amid what's going wrong, that can be a way to be kind to yourself. I have this picture here of my mother and me. This is a few years ago when I was a little tiny bit skinnier. Don't look at that. Um, but my mother died a year and a half ago, and I remember at that time, my husband said to me, "This is a really sad time. You're going to miss your mom a lot. It is going to be really distressing. Don't feel guilty feeling happy and joyful at times in this period of time." She died a week before Christmas. And it was so important to have permission to feel happy and joyful sometimes because when you're mourning and when horrible things happen and when you're feeling very sad and down, you don't, you might feel like being kind to yourself, but you also might feel like just grieving a lot. And allowing yourself space to feel happiness and joy in the middle of that can also be very cool and very kind. So I had that experience and I do often think of my mother and I also just think of a lot of positive things about that, about my mom. I still think she is like in my backyard cultivating my strawberries because they've been growing like crazy and I don't have a green thumb, just saying. But mixing that permission to feel good things even when it feels like maybe you should be feeling only down things. It's okay to let yourself be happy and feel joy. It's a good thing. Um, So going back to what we started with, little strategies here of noticing where you put your attention. Notice your thoughts. You can cultivate intentionally helpful thoughts while acknowledging reality, while being very real. You can tap into your values and also use what you care about to navigate the decisions you make. But then all the things we just talked about are ways of implementing coping methods for stressful times also. Figuring out like what would you like to make a habit out of the things we just talked about today? Any of it would be fine. You can make a habit of regular journaling. You can make a habit of reaching out to people by text. You could choose one and kind of habitify it. And then pretty soon, when you're in a moment of stress, you're going to go to it. Neuroscience tells us that treating yourself with compassion and kindness can actually reshape your brain by growing new neuron connections. And that's how you enhance your resilience and your well being. And it gives you the strength to be kind another day to other people and get out there and share more to the rest of the world. It strengthens activity in your prefrontal cortex, that part of your brain responsible for self awareness, decision making, emotional regulation. It helps you to respond with less criticism to yourself and more compassion. It also reduces the amygdala reactivity. Self-kindness strengthens the activity in your prefrontal cortex, shifting all the energy that would come from that reactive space into the more thoughtful space. So that's a good thing. It reduces your fight, flight, or freeze response. And also, it gives you dopamine, which is that feel good chemical, pleasure and motivation. So it creates that self-reinforcing loop. These are just the thoughts I brought for you today. And I see that you brought a lot of comments in the chat. So I really appreciate you sharing what you're doing that works. I wondered if anyone had anything they want to add or discuss or even share with us about what you might be doing. You have any other thoughts about self-kindness?
Yes, independence and interdependence healthily. You know, always persevering. I'm an independent person, so I self-compare, and I tend to, there are times I, teach myself things, whether going online to learn like a new math equation or spelling difficult words, reading books, reading different things. But none of us are really islands. And of course, the basis of what we get along as is other women or, intragender and intergender. It just can't be, that superficiality is what it's based on. And it can't be, that like illegal things mixed with some type of superficiality, like blend forces or join hands. And that, things that are, let's see, and that unhealthy things, come about. We should, each of us should be as interdependent, not as an island, but, if someone needs a rise, a jealous rise, or to depend on someone else, in ways that are like fantastic related, or, things that just don't make sense at all. Things where, you're being targeted or bullied, or that there's biasness, and that that you can prove something in almost any setting that continues to go on. And, the scary part can be hierarchically, amongst hierarchies, triangulation and circles, and those of choice can do no wrong, or that illegal things that victims, have really grown to, denote whether computer trespass or cell phone trespass, or illegal harm, engagement, drug abuse. I'm not here to bust anyone's chops, but the durations and frequencies of computer trespass makes what the interdependence about to be pretty scary, along with theft of authorship, or to use malware is just not a healthy interdependence at all. So,
Right, right. Yeah, Anna, I totally agree with you. And thank you for sharing your comments. Yeah. Anyone else have a comment?
sure.
I will. I've been rescuing dogs, some cats, for a long, long time. And as I've gotten older, I rescue the older or sick ones from the shelters that nobody else wants. And the joy they bring to me, that not only is it altruistic, of course, that you save a life, it's more that what what they bring into my life. I've been alone a long time, and there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And with my animals, I'm aware of the being alone sometimes, but just, I've done a lot of research on pet ownership and how it affects a lot of what you said, Bethany, our physical state. It lowers our blood pressure. We have companionship. We have love that is not, dependent on us giving something to get back.
Mhm.
So um, I just, in listening to you today, I realized that my rescuing and adopting, especially my dogs, is really taking care of myself too.
Yes, it is. Very nice. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Rini. Appreciate it. Anyone else have a strategy or something you're practicing, or maybe that you might start practicing?
I've been
I'm
working
just,
on, oh, sorry, Anna.
you go,
I've
you
been
go.
I've been working on actively acknowledging places where I might not have made the right decision.
Mm.
Um, I I think we all probably find it hard to apologize if we've done something, especially if we've hurt somebody. We don't want to acknowledge the pain we've caused, or we don't want to admit that maybe we've done something wrong. So just last week, I reached out to my childhood best friend that I have not
Mhm.
talked to in 20 or so years.
Mm.
And we were just sort of chatting aimlessly about whatever and sort of going back over memories that would come to mind. And then it was 3 in the morning and we were texting, and I unloaded on her and apologized for
Mhm.
how our
Mhm.
friendship fell apart in high school.
Oh yeah.
And so it's 3 in the morning and we're both ugly crying, and we have talked every day since. So it was really good to rekindle that friendship, to, have that companion again that I can go to, and that she can come to me as well. But it started with me being willing to admit that I had done something that hurt her and inevitably hurt me. And so I looked at that sort of as an act of kindness, not only to her to have some sort of closure on our friendship falling apart, but
Mm.
self kindness as well, because then I was able to let that go also.
Nice. Thank you for that example. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, nothing is quite as
I'm struggling with
healing as
not
connecting with the
uh,
past and being able to resolve old things. I'm sorry, Anna, go ahead.
sure. Well, to get things that I've been doing, I just emailed out a load of papers, like so many research papers, not all to one, many to another, grant proposals, research proposals, and the like. That's part of what I've been up to. Uh, cleaning the room and cleaning the house, and they've been doing excellent repairs and the like. But sort of struggling, I guess. With this sort of behavior of like targeting, I'm really struggling with targeting. I'm not a targeter type. I'm scared about. Have you guys ever heard of triangulation? What narcissistic triangulation is? Anyone?
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
very familiar with
So, I
that.
mean, there have been individuals where I have tried to speak directly to them, even some in my own family, and it's kind of scaring me, the things that they would like to, well, how they would like me to view the world, historically how they always have. It also gets very difficult owing them the attention desired, whether the immaturity, the statements made, almost so bizarre as far as the goals with triangulation, that their biases have been denoted, I mean, one instance, a coworker, I had one instance of triangulation where I really believe there's like, well, several with bribery, not to get too into law, but there have been instances where briberies have occurred behind my back, biases proven on the side where individuals, let's see, didn't go to work for 9 weeks straight, me having served 26 children. You would not believe what went on at the location. Otherwise, again, loads more biases back then. And I know some people in the field of psychology are quick to say, we'll move forward. I think that the moving forward is going to have me to have a greater purpose in some of the settings or and even workplace. It's vital to move forward, but being that many instances of either theft of authorship, spyware and malware, illegal activities, drug abuse, and the triangulation behind my back is just getting so weird and so long term. It's really just breaking my heart. So yeah, there's so many instances where someone, where the biasness is proven, like someone not showing up for work for 9 weeks and me taking the blame, and she was paid the entire time. The amount of work that I did, the numbers of hours and the numbers of students, the work that I did on the side, the work that I did. It's almost kind of scary that someone would then have the cruelty to lie about the ringleading. What ringleading is, like ringing, people who would not know each other outside of triangulation, outside of making and receiving briberies, outside of loads of computer trespass, theft of authorship, and the like. So just as you said, toxic positivity is not all there. Independence and interdependence are healthy, positive measures. But that many instances of, lying in my name or doing these things as if I should keep forking over what is mine to someone else, it just doesn't make sense at all. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. You know what? I would like to put in the
Has
chat
anyone else
the
dealt with computer
um
trespassers, victims of bribery? Sure.
not me personally, but I want to share with you
Sure.
the link to our EAP
Okay.
because there might be someone there that can help with that. I
Sure.
think it would be worth your time to check out.
What is it?
Um,
EA?
hold on a second. I'm going to type it in the chat. It's the Employee Assistance Program
Oh,
where
sure.
you can let people know that you're having a crisis and you need some
Oh,
help.
nice. Sure.
And it can be wonderful. I do not know if it's going to let me send this because for some reason it's too many characters. Okay, Bethany, let's see if we can get it going. I'm going to see if I can make it happen. Okay, one of them's going to be Talk Life Workplace. The other one is the
Sure.
Employee Assistance Program. See if those links will open for you because definitely when you feel like no one is listening to you and you don't have
Yeah.
any way to help, you would like that information. The
Okay.
EAP program is called Guidance Resources. I want to just add in the chat. This supports your mental, physical, and financial health. There's a company web ID for APUS and it's Gen 311. There's the phone number there for you too. Yeah, I
Where's
really,
the location? Is it
um,
Nashville?
it's somewhere in the United States. Yeah, it's a resource that APUS pays for. And I just would
Oh,
encourage you to
nice.
check it out. Yeah, let's see if it can help you out with your crisis you're going through. And I'm sorry to hear you're suffering from that, Anna.
Oh, sure.
Bethany,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming
And
tonight. I am going to go ahead and wrap up
Yeah,
here. It's
thanks for
starting to
having
get a
me.
little bit late. Of course, I'm so glad that you could join us. So thank you again. And we will be posting this on YouTube. So for anybody who couldn't make the meeting, they can check out all the information and the links too. So thank you so much.